Hello my lovely YouTubers! So in this video I wanted to talk about Catasetums coming out of dormancy and how to handle our Catasetums coming out of dormancy. A lot of mine are beginning their new growths for the season, so I figured it would be a perfect opportunity to talk to you guys about what to look for, how to handle each of the stages of growth for your Catasetum, so stay tuned. Okay, so just a disclaimer before we get into this, I just wanted to quickly talk about the way in which I grow Catasetums. I am not saying that this is the only way you can grow Catasetums, and I'm not saying that if you grow your Catasetums this way, they'll never die or get rot or anything like that. This is the way that I grow my Catasetums, and I know there's so many ways to grow Catasetums, so just let me stop you before you start writing the comment down below saying that you never give your Catasetum a winter rest, or you don't grow yours like I grow mine, you keep it in the pot and you don't change the media for 2 years. Let me just put a stop to that right there. I grow my Catasetums, a lot of them, like this. This is what I consider the tulip style sort of method for growing Catasetums, where they don't have any leaves, you cut off all of the roots, because to me, the roots are never as efficient at taking up nutrients and water and things like that as they are when they're brand fresh new. So here we see on this Catasetum that I have been storing tulip style, it actually has 2 growths. There's one below there and one up here. So it has 2 growths on this 2 bulb. Whenever you make a division of your Catasetums, you should try to have at least 3 bulbs, but this one actually suffered a little bit of rot, so I had to cut off the rotting pseudobulbs and I was left with 2 healthy ones, which is completely fine. You can even bring them down to 1 bulb and they'll still sprout. So this one has 2 growths, as you can see right there and right there. And this is how I grow a lot of my Catasetums. I'm sorry for those of you that disagree with this method, but it's what works for me, and that's what orchid growing is all about. It's what works for you, what works for your climate, and if you do like this method, then good, great. I recommend you continue watching this video. If you don't, or maybe you just want to learn, this is how I grow a lot of my Catasetums, the tulip style method. So no leaves, and I cut off all of the older roots because, like I said, I just don't think they're as efficient at taking up nutrients and water. So I will store them in a dark room or until I see new growth. So this one has started putting out new growth, so I'm actually going to pot this guy up. You can wait to pot your Catasetums. You don't have to pot them as soon as you see new growth, but our goal here is to pot them before the roots get too long. Ideally, you want to pot them before they even have roots, so at this stage if you want to. You just don't want to damage the new roots, because this Catasetum is putting all of the energy from the stored pseudobulbs into the new growths, and any sort of damage that they receive when they're just starting out, it really does set them back. So try to pot them as soon as you see new growths, but if you wait like a week or 2 weeks even, it's really not going to make that much of a difference. Okay, so this is not meant to be a repotting tutorial by any means, so I'm just going to go real quick and show you guys how I handle my Catasetums coming out of dormancy. So I just have my Catasetum with its new growths emerging, and I filled a pot full of lava rock, and now I'm just going to go through and repot this guy. Okay, so putting in my dry sphagnum. Okay, and then I like to use just a tablespoon of whatever slow-release fertilizer you like using. I like to use Osmocote, that's just my preferred. Sprinkle it in. And then cover that with some more sphagnum, because I like to sit my Catasetums on top of the sphagnum and let them decide where they want to put their roots. Okay, so as you can see, I've placed the Catasetum on top of the mix. That way the pseudobulbs are above the sphagnum. Don't want any rot setting in or anything like that. I like to keep the bulbs as exposed as possible. Really, I'm only concerned about this new growth, and the new growth will put roots down into the media. I also staked this orchid for support. So you can see the stake there in the back, and then I secured it. You don't want your Catasetum wobbling around and possibly damaging the new roots that it's putting out. So this is my finished product. I've got some Osmocote in here, and I will follow up with a liquid fertilizer as well throughout the growth season. Okay, and then once I'm finished with him, he just gets a nice little spot with his little Catasetum friends under my T5 grow lamp. Want to put him in as much light as possible because I am trying to get him to grow at a reasonable rate, and I had him in the dark, so that's really not going to help him grow a new growth. So he gets a nice little spot underneath my T5 lamps, just like my other ones that have started coming out of dormancy. So you can see this one. This one needed actually a little bit more support, so I put in some lava rocks. But you can see how I put them above the sphagnum moss, and I just allow them to choose where they want to grow down into the medium. And I haven't even started watering this one. You can hear how crunchy the sphagnum moss is. So that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about when is it reasonable, when should we water our Catasetum orchids. And I love the fact that I have 3 Catasetum orchids that are all in the different stages to actually show you guys what I'm talking about when I say wait for your Catasetum to leaf out. Wait for the new growth to leaf out before you water it. So here's the Catasetum orchid that we just did a quick little repotting on. And as you can see, the brand new growth is just itty bitty tiny. Not even beginning to root out yet. And then here is our stage 2. So we have repotted our Catasetum orchid. This is about a couple weeks of growth, and you can see down into the media, you can see those brand new roots. At this stage, you might be tempted to water it. I really recommend that you don't. All of these tight spaces on the new growth are perfect for harboring water and causing the new growth to rot, and that's definitely what we don't want to happen. Now, you may even be tempted to measure the growth and measure the roots and say to yourself, well, these roots are about 3 inches in length, because if you measured each one of those roots, it might add up to 3 inches. But remember our rules here, or my rules rather, that you want to wait till it roots out and leaves out. I do not consider this to be my definition of leafing out. I will show you what I mean by leafing out. And here is our definition of leafing out. You can see that the leaves are actually beginning to be noticeable and look like leaves. Here it still kind of looks like a new growth, but this one definitely looks like it is leafing out, and it's actually full of happy sap. You can see the little 2 droplets there. I just got sticky all over my fingers. And if we were to measure the roots, as you can see down into the media, they definitely look like they are 3 inches in length. Just moving it away there so you can see. Okay, so here in front of us we have our basic stages of growth for our new growth when they're coming out of dormancy, and you're saying to yourself, wow, mine looks exactly like this. I'm ready to water it. Just drench that sucker, get it completely soaking wet, and that's exactly what I don't do. So whenever I have my orchid, my Catasetum, it's leafed out, it's got all the signs are there. Whenever this happens, I actually gradually increase water. This just ensures that the new growth is not going to get rot and die. So what I do is whenever I have my Catasetum orchid in this stage of growth, I will actually mist around the sides of the pot, barely getting the sphagnum wet, making sure to stay away from the new growth. Like I said, it's got these tight nooks and crannies, and I really don't want to get any water in there. So I wait to completely drench the Catasetum until it gets larger. You can also test this by looking at your Catasetum's back bulb. See how this one is nice and plump. It has a few wrinkles in it, but really it's looking full and healthy. So I don't really have to worry about watering it too much or fertilizing it too much, because all of the nutrients that this little growth is getting are coming from this back bulb. So if you are ever in doubt, when should I water my Catasetum orchid? If your Catasetum looks like this and you're still unsure as to whether or not you should water it, I say wait a week, wait even 2 weeks. Just wait until your Catasetum growth gets bigger, or watch the back bulb here. Watch your Catasetum back bulb. If it starts shriveling excessively, then you can go ahead and mist around the new growth, mist around the rim of the orchid's pot. Okay, and here is what I am using for fertilizer. These are all brand new to me, so I can't say if they are effective or not, but I've used First Race products before, and I really, really, really like them. I was using the K-Lite orchid fertilizer before, and I have actually switched over to the MSU formulation. This one is for pure water. He also has one for well water. And I'm also using Kelp Max. This is going to help with root growth and foliage growth. This right here, this is going to help with just overall growth. It has lots of minor minerals that might not be in your water supply, like calcium, magnesium, just tons and tons of great nutrients for your orchids. Calcium especially is important. And then this is something new I'm trying as well. In NacoCure, this is supposed to be beneficial microbes that are just going to help prevent things like rot and susceptibility to bug infestations. So these are all 3 brand new things I'm trying this year. I was using a fish emulsion prior to this. I was using the K-Lite prior to this, and I didn't even have anything like this in my regimen. So I will report back. If you guys want to see me using any of my fertilizers, how to use the fertilizers on your orchids, just leave a comment down below in the comments section if you guys are interested in something like that, and I will make a video for that. And I just wanted to show you guys another example of what I consider to be leafing out. So I've got the root growth, and I've got the new growth that has leafed out. So this is what I mean when your orchid should leaf out before you add water into the equation. So here you can really tell the difference. You might be tempted to say, oh, this one looks like it's leafing out because I see a tiny little leaf, but no, this one is not leafing out, just starting out in the world and just starting to put out new roots. Here's my little Monniera Millennium Magic Witchcraft, which is kind of growing a weird growth. It's just all wonky. It's starting to leaf out, but in a weird way. But you can see the roots down in there, those white things. Alrighty guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video about how to handle our Catasetum orchids coming out of dormancy. If you did, please be sure to like this and also subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one in the future. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, plenty of forums to follow me on. I'm also very, very active in the Facebook group Orchaholics Anonymous, so I'm on there all the time answering questions and things like that, posting pictures. So that is the best place if you want to talk to me or get some advice about your Catasetums or even other orchids. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I will see you later.